Reverence for God moves the man, deep strength, and should have a place of refuge and security. Proverbs 14:26.
Thanks, boys. I think Bob would be pretty shocked at all the attention. What do you think? I think he would. I don't think he was. I don't know that Bob had any idea just how much his life had impacted so many others. He might be a little bit embarrassed to know how much fuss has been made over an ordinary guy like him. But we know better, don't we? This is the network that's here today. Bob and I talked about this in the hospital a time or two when he was early on in his battle with cancer, and on one of those not so good days, I reminded him of those Verizon commercials where you just had one guy standing there, and then all of a sudden you see this army of people behind him. Remember the commercials? And they're everywhere. And he said, well, who's that? Well, that's the network. That's the network. That's all the support that goes along with it. And I was trying to remind Bob of the network, and that's who's here today. That's who's up here everywhere. We, out of our love and respect for Bob Wasson, for Ellie and the girls, we've tried to be there and to take this journey with you and to offer love and encouragement along this tough journey. A loving church family and Mount Hermon, and then a whole family of churches, and all the fellow citizens and public servants. We all come together today to offer prayer and encouragement and love and support to this wonderful family. What kind of man? This is a question that Bob and I talked about a little bit. What kind of man can be a pastor and a mayor at the same time? That's not really how I put the question. The way I put the question to Bob was, what were you thinking about? What were you thinking about? Who in the world would want to be a pastor and a mayor at the same time? What kind of calling leads a man to serve a church and lead a community all at once? Well, the answer is this: a man who loves to serve, a man who lives to serve, a man who is all about others, a man who has changed the natural, self-centered flow of life. You know, we all come with that built in, that natural, me-first, inward flow of life. Bob changed that flow, didn't he? To where his life flowed outward. It wasn't grasping for himself. It was giving of himself to other people. It was an others first, outward giving of his life. To serve any way he could, to serve and make a difference. That was his desire. That's a tough lesson for all of us. And even Jesus' own disciples had a hard time accepting this truth. And I thought about this conversation Jesus had with his disciples, because I think it says something significant for us to learn, certainly a lesson that's evident in Bob's life. Then the mother of Zebedee's sons came to Jesus with her sons, and kneeling down, asked a favor of him. What is it you want? He asked. She said, grant that one of these two sons of mine may sit at your right and the other at your left in your kingdom. You don't know what you are asking, Jesus said to them. You drink God and serving others. That Bob found his joy. That's where his joy came from, was in serving God and serving others. Now, I know our culture tells us the opposite. We think we'd be happy if people served us. We think we'd be happy if people catered to our whims and our appetites. But the truth is, Bob knew better than any of us. Real joy comes from the outward flow of our lives, from giving of ourselves, from laying down our lives for others. It's an Indian philosopher named Tagore, who said it like this. He said, "I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I awoke and saw that life was service. I acted, and behold, service was joy." That's the way it was for Bob Wasson. Service was so blessed, so fortunate. He even taught his girls to say, "Today I get to go to work. I get to go to church." Not I want to go to church. Not I have to go to church. Not I have to go to work. It was a want to. It was a get to. It was a blessing. Bob has given us one more noble example, one that broke our hearts, on what he needed to do each day. He always felt that God had left him here for a purpose, and he had work to do. And so that he did. His dedication to his God, to his family, to his church, to his community, and never wavered. In March, Bob's doctor, this last March, Bob's doctor told him he needed to concentrate more on his health instead of everything else he was trying to do. He came back to his office and asked Joe Lee to look at his calendar for May to see if maybe he could take some time off. Bob kept going and kept serving right up to his last breath, right up until the last beat of his heart. Another faithful servant wrote these words at the end of his life: "The time has come for my departure. I fought the good fight. I've finished the race. I have kept the faith. Now there is in store for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day. And not only to me, but also to all who have longed for his appearing."